Alright guys, today we're going to be tying a balanced leech, but this is going to be a little different than your standard balanced leech. So this right here, this is a size 14 jig hook. And then I'm also going to use this bright orange bead. This is a tungsten bead right here. But this is going to be a micro leech. Now, a lot of you guys have probably fished a balanced leech before. But not a lot of shops, they don't really sell the micro leeches. And I've been playing around with some micro leeches lately, and I found that I've caught way more fish this season on a micro leech with a hotspot bead than I have with any other leeches in my box. Now I did catch a really nice splake on a full-size leech, but almost every fish I caught, especially some really nice fish I caught up at Strawberry, have all been on a micro leech. So we're going to tie that right now. I'm just going to start off with a nice little thread base, and then to make this balanced, all I'm using is this is just a pin that you'd get for like sewing and stuff, and I just got the orange bead on it right there. Now this is too long, so I'm just going to take some pliers and I'm just going to snip it down to the length I need. So we'll start right, let's give that length a shot. I always start a little bit long, that way I don't take too much off, because you want enough that it still can hold on to the shank of the hook. Alright, so that's a little on the long side, so I'm going to trim that down a bit more. And then we're going to do about right there. I'm going to wrap that on top. I just do loose wraps for right now because I'm actually going to balance this. So I do pretty loose wraps. And on these balanced leeches, you want them to actually sit balanced in the water. So before I crank that down, I've got to check and just make sure it's actually balanced. So what I'm going to do is take that off the hook, and I'm going to take a little piece of thread. I'm just going to thread it through the eye of the hook, and we're just going to make sure that it is balanced. Now, I like to fish these under an indicator. If the water's pretty rough, you can let the water kind of work the fly for you. But if it's just like really calm water, I'll kind of like twitch that indicator just to make that leech kind of bob up and down under the water. But if the water's really rough, you don't have to worry about that because the waves are going to bounce that leech for you. So let's hang this and we'll just see if it's balanced. Okay, so right there it's a little heavy on the front of the hook, so I'm going to push it back just a little bit. Might have gone too far back right there. Okay, let's give that a shot. But yeah, when these leeches, when they're perfectly balanced, they get really good movement in the water. Okay, I'm going to call that good right there. It's a little heavy on the front side, but with the tail and stuff, it should even it out pretty good. So we're going to clamp that back down, and we'll get tying. So we'll wrap that down, do some nice tight wraps, really securing it. And then I was careful with the thread around that back part because that sharp metal from the pin will easily cut the thread, and it sucks to tie your thread back on. So now I'm going to take some marabou, and rather than looking for like the really fine tips, I'm looking for just the softest, fluffiest stuff on here because I want it to get the best movement. I use a lot of the side feathers, so rather than using the top of the feather, I like to pull the sides of the feather off. And I feel like those get a lot better movement than the top of the feathers. So I'll just kind of pull the sides off right there. And you really don't need a lot of marabou for this fly because the dubbing's going to make up the majority of it. So it's a little bit long. I'm going to say right there. Make sure it's about the length of the body. And then I just wrap that down. And then wrap it up. And then all you gotta do is just snip that excess off. And then we'll just secure it down. But yeah, I was up at Strawberry a few weekends ago, a little bit after ice off. We got caught in a snowstorm on one of the days. We went the same weekend, so we got up there when there was still some ice off, and we got into some rainbows, but it turned into like 15-mile-per-hour winds, and it was snowing. And it was just kind of miserable. So we ended up bailing out, going to get some dinner. But then I came up the next weekend. Ice was completely off, but it didn't slow the fishing down. I caught some really nice cutthroats and caught more rainbows than I can count. But yeah, this fly is a lot of fun to fish during ice off, and just still water in general. I use these flies backpacking as well, in the high Uintas, or really any backcountry lake. I'm sure they do just fine. And I think the orange bead really helps get a lot of the attention of the fish. From what I've noticed, lake fish aren't too picky. They can be, but usually it's more just getting them to see your fly. If they see it and the movement's right, they'll usually always take it. So we're going to put some dubbing on this fly. And I go pretty thin on this dubbing. You don't want to load it up too much. We are going to put some Velcro to it to kind of puff it up a little bit. But I'm just going to put nice thin layers of dubbing on. All right there. And we'll just kind of wrap that up. If you guys want to see any of the stillwater fishing that I've done, I've got some videos I made this season on it. They'll just be in the description. I'll post a link. But yeah, I got into some really nice, I got a really nice Blake, probably my personal best. Ah, man, the thread just broke. I hate when I break my thread. It is the absolute worst. So if I ever snap my thread off, I'll usually just, you can kind of just pick up where you left off at and just wrap over it a couple times. And then you can just snap that new tag end off. And then, since I already got the dubbing tied to that, I'll just take my little fly tying pliers right there and just wrap the rest, just so I'm not wasting any of my material. And then I'll secure that with the thread. And snip that old tag end off. And then now I just got to add some more dubbing to finish the rest of the body. But yeah, these flies are super quick. They're super easy to tie, and you only use like 2 pieces of material. It's just marabou and dubbing. Also, I am using Hog's dubbing right here. This is just black with some red, green flash in it. Works pretty good. I mean, I've caught a lot of fish on it this season, so I've been pretty happy with it. But yeah, got some good flash, get the fish's attention, then mixed in with that hot spot bead. This fly, it catches some nice fish. You know, a lot of people say like big fly, big fish, which is like true a lot of the times, but I don't know, I think fish are just so used to seeing, especially like lake fish, they're so used to seeing balanced leeches in the larger sizes. So by throwing these smaller ones, it really just mixes it up. So I'm going to add a little bit more on the head there. A lot of this is going to get raked out, so I'm not being too shy on the dubbing, but I'm not trying to get like big clumps of it. But yeah, I think a lot of fish just get so used to seeing those larger size of leeches, so by doing a smaller size, you know, it switches up a little bit, tricks some larger trout into taking your fly. Okay, got that right there. So now all I'm going to do is going to just whip finish. And then we'll also put some UV glue on there to help kind of hold that thread down. Yeah, when I was fishing this fly at Strawberry the other day, I caught so many fish on it, it tore it apart. So saved the hook and took a razor blade to it and retied it up. But it's always nice when I can reuse a hook. Usually I lose my flies in trees before I get a chance to reuse the hook, or before they get a chance to fall apart. But yeah, those fish were chowing down on it. All right, got that on there. So now for the final touch, we're just going to take a piece of Velcro. This is just an old like strap that I've got for backpacking. As you can see, I use it a lot. It's got a ton of dubbing on it. But I'll usually rake it forward a little bit to start off with. Just kind of go around the fly, really grab some of that dubbing, and then we'll finish it by raking it forward. Make sure all that looks good. Might rake a little bit more if I can. I don't want to add too much bulk, but I like a little bit. Okay. Right there's good. So there is a balanced leech with a hotspot bead. But yeah, give this fly a shot. See how it works for you guys. I fish a lot here in Utah, and this has been my #1 fly. I've tied several rigs where I've used this as the point fly and then tied a larger leech above it, and I've even used the larger leech below and tied this as the secondary fly. And no matter where I put it, they always seem to take the smaller leech. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you guys liked it, check this one out right here, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. See ya.